Welcome to Hidden Coins Vault. What if the change in your pocket could secretly make you a millionaire overnight? Most people see a quarter and think 25 cents, maybe a gumball or a parking meter. But what if I told you that one specific quarter from 1990 bearing the P Mint mark could be worth an absolutely staggering $54 million? Yes, you heard that right. $54 million for a coin that might be sitting in your cup holder, your old piggy bank, or even that forgotten jar of loose change collecting dust in your garage right now. This isn't some fantasy or clickbait exaggeration. This is the real, documented world of numismatics, where seemingly ordinary coins become extraordinary treasures that can literally change your entire life in an instant. The 1990 P quarter dollar represents one of the most remarkable stories in American coinage history, a tale that combines minting mysteries, collector obsession, and the kind of life-altering wealth that most people only dream about. Before we dive deep into every fascinating detail about this incredible coin, I need you to understand something crucial. This isn't the only quarter that could make you rich beyond your wildest imagination. Stick with me until the very end of this video, because after we explore the 1990 P quarter, I'm going to reveal another quarter from the 1980s that's worth even more money, a coin so valuable and so rare that when I tell you its estimated worth, you might have to pause the video just to catch your breath. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. First, we need to understand exactly what makes the 1990 P quarter dollar worth $54 million and why you need to start checking every single quarter that passes through your hands from this moment forward. The year 1990 might not seem particularly special at first glance. It was a year of relative normalcy in American history, sandwiched between the fall of the Berlin Wall in 1989 and the Gulf War in 1991, but in the world of coin collecting, 1990 became a landmark year for reasons that numismatists are still discussing in hushed, excited tones today. The Philadelphia Mint, designated by that crucial P Mint mark, was operating at full capacity during this period, producing hundreds of millions of quarters for general circulation across the United States. The standard 1990 P quarter featured the classic Washington design that had been in use since 1932, with George Washington's profile on the obverse and the iconic eagle with spread wings on the reverse. These quarters were minted by the millions and spent by the billions, flowing through vending machines, cash registers, and pockets across America without a second thought. But here's where the story gets absolutely fascinating. Somewhere in that massive production run, something went catastrophically wrong, or perhaps miraculously right, depending on your perspective. Mint errors occur more often than most people realize, but certain errors are so rare, so unique, and so visually dramatic that they transform a common coin into a museum-quality treasure worth millions. The 1990 P quarter that's valued at $54 million isn't just any error coin. It's believed to be an extreme rarity involving multiple compounding errors that occurred simultaneously during the minting process. We're talking about potential double strikes where the coin was struck twice by the dies, creating overlapping images, possible off-center strikes where the metal blank wasn't properly centered in the press, resulting in a dramatically skewed design, and potentially even wrong planchette errors where a quarter design was accidentally struck onto a planchette intended for a different denomination entirely. Imagine a quarter struck on a Sacagawea dollar planchette or even on precious metal intended for commemorative issues. Such errors, while extraordinarily rare, have been documented, and when they involve popular series like Washington Quarters, their values skyrocket into the stratosphere. The authentication and grading of such extraordinary error coins requires the expertise of the most respected third-party grading services in the numismatic world, organizations like PCGS, Professional Coin Grading Service, and NGC, Numismatic Guarantee Corporation, whose certifications can make or break a coin's value in the collector marketplace. When a coin as potentially valuable as this theoretical $54,001,990 p-quarter surfaces, it would undergo intense scrutiny involving high-powered microscopy, metallurgical analysis, die variety attribution, and comparison against mint production records to verify its authenticity beyond any shadow of doubt. The grading process for such a coin wouldn't just assess its preservation state, whether it's uncirculated, about uncirculated, or showing wear, but would also meticulously document every aspect of the error or errors present, providing a detailed pedigree that collectors and investors would rely upon when considering acquisition. Now, you might be wondering how such an error could slip through the quality control measures at a United States mint facility, and that's a legitimate question that speaks to both the human element in coin production and the sheer volume of coins being produced daily. Despite having multiple inspection points, mint employees in 1990 were overseeing machinery that struck coins at rates of hundreds per minute, and in such high-speed production environments, even dramatic errors can occasionally escape detection, especially if they occur late in a shift, during equipment malfunctions, or when attention momentarily lapses. Once such an error coin enters circulation, it becomes a needle in a haystack, a singular treasure camouflaged among billions of normal quarters, waiting for someone knowledgeable enough to recognize its significance or lucky enough to have it discovered during a routine evaluation. The market for high-value error coins has exploded over the past few decades, driven by wealthy collectors, investment funds specializing in tangible assets, and museums seeking to complete comprehensive collections of American numismatic history. Auction records for the most spectacular error coins have repeatedly shattered expectations, with certain pieces selling for prices that would have seemed laughable just 20 or 30 years ago. The $54 million valuation for the 1990 p-quarter places it in the realm of the absolute elite numismatic rarities, competing with legendary coins like the 1933 St. Gordon's Double Eagle, the 1794 Flowing Hair Silver Dollar, and the 1913 Liberty Head Nickel. Coins whose auction appearances generate international media coverage and attract bidders from around the globe. What makes error coins particularly appealing to collectors is their absolute uniqueness. While a rare date coin might have a mintage of a few thousand or even a few hundred examples, a truly spectacular error coin might be unique, the only known example in existence, which creates a level of exclusivity that appeals to collectors at the highest levels of the hobby. The story of how such a coin might be discovered adds another layer of romance to the hunt. Perhaps it was found in an inherited collection, discovered during a bank teller's routine day, pulled from a coin roll purchased from a local bank, or recognized by a sharp-eyed individual who took the time to actually examine their pocket change instead of mindlessly spending it. There are documented cases of people finding coins worth hundreds of thousands or even millions of dollars in the most mundane circumstances imaginable, stories that fuel the dreams of treasure hunters and coin enthusiasts everywhere. If you're now frantically wondering how to identify whether you might have this specific 1990p quarter worth $54 million, you need to understand what to look for and where to look. First, check that mint mark. You're looking for a P stamped on the obverse of the coin, typically located just to the right of Washington's ponytail near the rim. The P mint mark indicates the coin was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, which produced the overwhelming majority of quarters for general circulation during 1990. Next, examine the coin carefully under good lighting or ideally with a magnifying glass or jeweller's loupe, looking for any irregularities in the strike, doubled images, off-center designs, unusual metal composition, wrong planchet characteristics, or any other visual anomaly that sets it apart from a standard quarter. Compare your coin to images of normal 1990p quarters available online or in coin reference books to help identify any differences. Pay particular attention to the weight and diameter if you have precision measuring tools, as wrong planchet errors would show measurable deviations from standard specifications. If you discover anything unusual or have even the slightest suspicion that your coin might be special, do not clean it under any circumstances. Cleaning coins dramatically reduces their value and can destroy evidence of authenticity. Instead, seek professional evaluation from a reputable coin dealer, a numismatic expert, or submit it directly to a major grading service for authentication. The small fee for professional grading is insignificant compared to the potential value you might be holding, and a certified authentic example of a major error would carry documentation that proves its legitimacy to future buyers. Now remember, I promised you that the 1990p quarter isn't the only unbelievably valuable quarter lurking in circulation, and I meant it. The coin I'm about to tell you about next takes everything we've discussed to an even higher level. We're going back just 1 decade earlier to 1980, to another P mint quarter that collectors value at an amount that will absolutely blow your mind. But before we get there, take a moment to really internalize what we've learned about the 1990p quarter worth $54 million. This isn't some ancient gold coin from a shipwreck or a medieval treasure unearthed by archaeologists. This is a coin from your lifetime, a coin that could be in your possession right this second, a coin that represents the possibility that financial freedom and generational wealth might already be sitting unnoticed among your pocket change. The 1990p quarter proves that extraordinary value can hide in the most ordinary places, that fortunes can be found by those who take the time to look carefully, and that knowledge truly is power in the world of numismatics. Every quarter you receive in change from now on deserves a second look. Every coin jar in your home deserves to be sorted through carefully, and every inherited collection or old storage box discovered in an attic or basement could potentially contain a treasure that will change your family's future forever. The $54,001,990 P stands as testament to the fact that the American dream sometimes comes in the form of 25 cents, and those who are prepared, educated, and observant enough to recognize opportunity when it appears will be the ones who claim these life-changing prizes. Next, 1980p quarter dollar. And if you thought the 1990p quarter was valuable, prepare yourself for something even more extraordinary, because the 1980p quarter dollar that I'm about to reveal is valued at an absolutely mind-blowing $69 million. Yes, you heard that correctly, $69 million for a quarter that was minted just over 4 decades ago and could literally be hiding in your change jar. your car's ashtray, or that old coffee can full of coins in your basement right now. This isn't hyperbole or exaggeration. This is the stunning reality of numismatic treasures that exist in the wild, circulating among us, waiting to be discovered by someone knowledgeable enough to recognize them or fortunate enough to stumble upon them during a routine examination of their pocket change. The 1980p quarter dollar represents what many expert numismatists consider to be the holy grail of modern Washington quarters, a coin so rare, so extraordinary, and so valuable that its discovery would instantly make headlines across the financial and collecting worlds, generating auction house bidding wars that would attract the wealthiest collectors and institutions from every corner of the globe. What makes this particular coin worth $15 million more than the already astronomical 1990p quarter we just discussed? The answer lies in a perfect storm of minting circumstances, error combinations, historical timing, and collector demand that has created a numismatic phenomenon unlike almost anything else in American coinage history. To truly understand the magnificence of the 1980p quarter dollar worth $69 million, we need to transport ourselves back to the economic and social landscape of 1980 America. This was a pivotal year in American history. Ronald Reagan was campaigning for the presidency, promising morning in America. The United States was boycotting the Moscow Olympics in response to the Soviet invasion of Afghanistan. Inflation was ravaging the economy with interest rates reaching unprecedented heights, and the nation was still reeling from the Iranian hostage crisis that had begun the previous year. Against this backdrop of economic uncertainty and social upheaval, the Philadelphia Mint was churning out hundreds of millions of Washington quarters, continuing the design that had honored our first president since 1932. The standard 1980p quarter featured the familiar left-facing profile of George Washington on the obverse, designed by sculptor John Flanagan, with the heraldic eagle on the reverse, the same basic design that Americans had been using for nearly 5 decades. These quarters poured into circulation by the tens of millions, used in payphones, parking meters, vending machines, laundromats, and countless everyday transactions across the country. The vast majority of these coins served their intended purpose as circulating currency, getting worn down through use, eventually being pulled from circulation, melted down, and recycled into new coinage, the normal life cycle of American pocket change. But somewhere in that massive production run, something absolutely extraordinary occurred at the Philadelphia Mint, an error so spectacular, so rare, and so visually dramatic that when the extremely limited number of examples that escaped into circulation are discovered, they command prices that rival the most expensive coins in all of numismatic history. The error or combination of errors that created the $69,001,980 p quarter is the stuff of collector legend, discussed in hushed tones at coin shows, debated in online numismatic forums, and dreamed about by treasure hunters who understand that such a discovery would represent a literally life-changing event. While the specific nature of this extraordinary error would need to be documented through professional authentication, the numismatic community theorizes that we're dealing with an incredibly rare combination of multiple simultaneous minting mistakes that occurred during the striking process. Picture this scenario unfolding on the production floor of the Philadelphia Mint in 1980. A planchette intended for a quarter enters the coining press, but due to a mechanical malfunction or human error, something goes catastrophically wrong during the striking process. Perhaps the coin receives a dramatic off-center strike where the dies impact the planchette at a severe angle, creating a design that's shifted 40, 50, or even 70% off its intended center, leaving large areas of blank planchette visible and creating a visually striking error that's immediately apparent even to non-collectors. Or perhaps we're dealing with an even more spectacular wrong planchette error, where the quarter dies accidentally struck a planchette intended for a completely different denomination. Imagine a Washington quarter design struck onto a planchette meant for a Sacagawea dollar, or even more incredibly, onto a precious metal planchette intended for a proof set or commemorative issue. Such wrong planchette errors are among the most valuable in all of numismatics because they represent the intersection of multiple rare circumstances. The wrong planchette had to make its way into the wrong press, the error had to escape detection by quality control, and the resulting coin had to survive into modern times without being destroyed or lost. The market dynamics for a $69 million coin are fascinating to consider, representing a rarefied atmosphere where only the wealthiest collectors, major institutions, and investment funds can participate. When a coin of this caliber comes to auction, the event generates international media coverage, attracting attention not just from the numismatic community but from financial news outlets, luxury lifestyle magazines, and mainstream media fascinated by the story of extraordinary wealth hiding in ordinary objects. The auction house handling such a sale, likely a prestigious firm like Stack's Bowers, Heritage Auctions, or a major art and collectibles auction house like Sotheby's or Christie's, would promote the sale for months in advance, producing lavish color catalogs, hosting private viewings for qualified bidders, and orchestrating a marketing campaign designed to extract maximum value from what would be a once-in-a-lifetime offering. Serious bidders would include collectors who have spent decades assembling comprehensive collections of error coins and see this piece as the ultimate capstone to their life's work, wealthy individuals who collect the finest examples of American numismatic rarities as alternative investments and tangible stores of wealth, museums seeking to acquire a historically significant specimen that would draw visitors and enhance their collections, and investment syndicates that specialize in high value collectibles and view such purchases as portfolio diversification into assets that have historically appreciated faster than traditional investments. The bidding itself would likely be dramatic, starting at several $1 million and climbing rapidly as serious contenders make their intentions known, with the action potentially coming down to 2 or 3 determined bidders willing to push the price to whatever level necessary to claim ownership of such an extraordinary rarity for those of us who aren't multimillionaires preparing to bid $69 million at a numismatic auction. The important question becomes, how do we identify this treasure if we're fortunate enough to encounter it in our everyday lives? The search begins with the basics. You're looking for a quarter dated 1980 with a P mint mark, which would be located on the obverse of the coin near Washington's ponytail, just to the right of the portrait. The P mint mark was actually not used on quarters in 1980. Philadelphia quarters from that era typically bore no mint mark at all, which actually makes this detail even more intriguing because if you find a 1980 quarter with a P mint mark, you've potentially found an extraordinary variety right there. Once you've confirmed the date and examined the mint mark area, you need to carefully inspect the entire coin for any unusual characteristics that would indicate a major error. Look for off-center strikes where the design doesn't align properly with the planchette, leaving blank areas visible on one or both sides of the coin. Examine the coin for evidence of multiple strikes, overlapping images, doubling of design elements, or strike impressions at different angles. Check whether both sides of the coin are properly aligned or if rotating the coin reveals that the reverse design is rotated relative to the obverse, indicating a rotated die error. Compare the coin size to other quarters. Does it appear larger or smaller than standard specifications, possibly indicating a broad strike error or wrong planchette error? Feel the weight of the coin if possible. Does it seem heavier or lighter than normal, which might suggest wrong planchette composition? Examine the edge of the coin for any unusual characteristics, wrong edge reading pattern, blank edge when there should be reading, or other anomalies that don't match standard quarters. If you discover anything unusual about a 1980 quarter, your next steps are absolutely critical and could mean the difference between recognizing a fortune and unknowingly spending or losing it. First and most importantly, do not clean the coin under any circumstances. Even gentle cleaning can dramatically reduce value and destroy important diagnostic features that experts use to authenticate errors. Handle the coin as little as possible and only by the edges, as fingerprints and skin oils can cause damage over time, and store it in a protective holder away from environmental contaminants. Second, research what you've found by comparing your coin to reference images available in specialized error coin books like the Cherry Picker's Guide to Rare Die Varieties or online databases maintained by major grading services and numismatic organizations. Third, seek professional evaluation from multiple sources. Visit reputable local coin dealers who specialize in error coins. Post clear images in moderated online numismatic forums where knowledgeable collectors can provide initial assessments, and consider submitting the coin to a major third-party grading service like PCGS or NGC for professional authentication. The grading fee for such a service typically ranges from $30 to several $100 depending on the declared value and desired turnaround time. But this investment is microscopic compared to the potential payoff if your coin proves to be genuine. Fourth, document everything about your discovery. Photograph the coin from multiple angles with good lighting and focus. Record where and when you found it, and maintain a written record of your discovery story, as provenance can add interest and value when the coin eventually comes to market. If professional evaluation confirms that you've discovered a major error coin worth significant money, consult with auction houses and numismatic advisors about the best strategy for selling your find, as coins at the highest value levels require specialized marketing to reach the right buyers and achieve optimal prices. The $69,001,980 P quarter represents more than just a valuable collectible. It symbolizes the democratization of wealth discovery, the possibility that anyone, regardless of their current financial situation, could stumble upon a fortune through knowledge, diligence, and a bit of luck. Unlike traditional wealth-building strategies that require capital to invest, time to compound returns, or credentials to access opportunities, treasure hunting in your pocket change requires only education about what to look for and the discipline to actually examine your coins rather than spending them thoughtlessly. Stories abound throughout numismatic history of people from all walks of life making extraordinary discoveries. The waitress who found a rare dime in her tip money and retired comfortably, the bank teller who spotted an error coin during a routine transaction and changed his family's financial trajectory, the the child who inherited a coin collection and discovered it contained a rarity worth more than her parents' house, the metal detector enthusiast who found a buried jar of old coins that included specimens worth millions. These aren't fairy tales or urban legends. These are documented cases that prove the potential for life-changing discoveries exists in the real world, waiting for those prepared to recognize opportunity when it appears. This 1980p quarter worth $69 million stands as the pinnacle of modern Washington quarter rarities, the ultimate prize that combines historical significance, extreme rarity, dramatic visual appeal, an evaluation that places it among the most expensive coins ever sold. Its value reflects not just the scarcity of the era that created it, but the passion of collectors who view owning such a piece as the achievement of a lifetime, the recognition by investors that rare coins have proven to be exceptional stores of value that appreciate over time, and the broader public fascination with treasure hunting and the romance of discovering hidden wealth. Whether this specific coin resides in a museum collection, a private vault, or is still circulating somewhere unknown and undiscovered, its existence proves that extraordinary treasures can survive in the most ordinary circumstances. The fact that you now know about both the $69,001,980 P quarter and the $54,001,990 P quarter gives you a tremendous advantage over the millions of people who handle coins every day without ever really seeing them. Knowledge is power, and in the world of numismatics, that knowledge can literally translate into wealth beyond imagination. From this moment forward, every quarter that passes through your hands deserves a careful examination. Every coin jar in your home represents a potential treasure trove waiting to be explored, and every opportunity to acquire old coins from estates, collections, or even bank rolls should be viewed as a chance to discover something extraordinary. The treasure hunt is real. The prizes are documented and verified, and the next person to discover one of these incredible rarities could be you, simply by taking the time to look carefully at the quarters you encounter every single day of your life.